I'm 91 years old, and I'm still painting. It's my life. It's everything to me. I can't imagine not painting.
I'm Josh, yeah.
I'm Hilda.
Beautiful. Nice to meet you, Hilda.
My name is Hilda O'Connell. Growing up in the Bronx, we didn't know much about painting. My father was a carpenter, and he taught me how to draw. They wanted me to have a better life. They were hardworking. They came from Ireland. I'm the only one that went to college. And the first college I went to was Pratt, and I don't know how I got in, because I didn't know anything at all. I didn't know who Picasso was. Never heard of him. It just was a whole different world, a really different world. A world I knew nothing about. I had a teacher, Jack Twerkoff. He was an abstract expressionist, and he changed my life. He wanted me to work in his studio. I've never been to a studio before. And he had a lot of large paintings there that he was working on. And while I'm talking to Jack, I'm looking at this blue painting. I didn't know what it was. There were no figures. There was nothing in it, just brushworks. But my heart was pounding. I had an epiphany. First time I seen abstract art that really went to me, my center. I told my parents that I didn't want to move back to the Bronx. And my father said, it's all right, just don't forget us. So I went back to school at NYU to study art history as a major. And I found a loft on 10th Street. I don't know if you know what 10th Street was about, but that's where all the abstract expressionists were. And I lived in a loft where Bill de Kooning lived above me. I just want to show you that picture up there. That's me sitting with de Kooning. You see on the stoop?
That's amazing.
On the top with the gray hair. That's de Kooning. I would pay $30 a month. I didn't even have a bathroom. I had no kitchen. I had running water. It was a loft. Nobody had any money. The abstract expressionists at that time were becoming famous. They all lived on, a whole bunch of them, on one street. And it was amazing, because they talked about art all the time. And I was 20, 30 years younger than them, and they treated me like an artist. I went to the Cedar Bar. Well, they all went there. They drank a lot. They really drank a lot.
Which is the last one that you were working on?
Well, this I just started. But these two, these are finished, but these are not. One time, de Kooning came into my studio, and he was drunk, and we were talking. I was leaving to go to work. The waitress, he fell asleep in my bed. I mean, we were not sleeping together. But he fell asleep because he was drunk. So I said, okay, so I went. When I came home, he was gone, of course. It was just one block of all these magnificent people. Next door to me, Milton Resnick and Esteban Vincenti. So I had a party one night, and everybody's on the rooftop. You could see 10th Street, you know, between the two buildings, people walking down. And all of a sudden, walking down the street was Allen Ginsberg. And people are calling, hey, Allen. And he looked up and they said, come on up, there's a party. He came up. That's what it was like. You met all kinds of people. They just, everybody talked to each other. It was amazing. I didn't realize how lucky I was. I didn't take lots of pictures of these people. You know, just, you know, it was an experience. When my husband got ill, people would come in to see him. It was just so busy. I had to put this wall up. I used to paint on a wall here. So then I started painting on here. So that changed. Otherwise, the studio remained the same. I lost my place on 10th Street. I went to Yale at that time, and I lost it. So when I came back, I went to 5th Street. So I was there for a while, and I really hated it. So I came this first place. I thought, wow, this is great. Do you know how much this was? $17,000. That's how much it cost. and I didn't have enough for it. So the person I was seeing at the time, he decided to go in with me on it. And we went on it together and we started living together. Eventually we got married. It was great, it was fun living here. It's always been fun. I had to make my furniture. Couldn't get a table that fits into this place, it's too small. So I went to a lumber yard, put the table together, like the shelving I had out there. They were throwing them out. You know, throwing these confessional doors out. Look, 1870.
Wow.
And they were throwing it out, you know?
So you just took the doors?
Oh yeah, well, somebody was throwing them out. I didn't know what I was going to do with them. Look how beautiful they are.
It's gorgeous.
People are so stupid. This is probably worth thousands of dollars, you know?
Yeah,
It's a treasure.
it is.
They were throwing out a treasure. 1870. Amazing. This was a ghost town. It was all black outside. It was kind of nice. It was quiet. Arts really changed the place, and then a lot of people wanted to move here. Younger people, a lot of money. But in 1975, it didn't look anything like this. It's another world, you know. So all the old people, there's only really 3 or 4 of us in the building from the originals. I've had favorites. I really love them, but sometimes you end up selling them. The interesting thing, this realistic one over here, I did a long time ago. Yeah, they represent my father in a way. He was a carpenter and artwork. And somebody wanted that, and I couldn't give it to them because it represents a period that I don't want to miss. This has been the beginning, when I was more figurative. There were few women painters. It was mostly all men. I'm going to tell you one thing one painter said to me at a show. God, Hilda, you paint with balls. And I thought that was the biggest compliment anybody ever said to me. I paint with balls. That's what it was like. And I thought it was the biggest compliment I ever got. You know, that's how stupid I was. Each period were important to me. Each period was a learning period. I worked in different styles to understand the styles. I love what I'm doing now. It's fascinating studying languages from prehistoric to now in many cultures. It's a story. That's what life is, finding out all these different things. It's fun. And I love studying. When we had the pandemic, I had no problem staying here all day long. I was busy. What happens with a lot of people, they don't know what to do with themselves. The only thing they do is watch television. That can be dangerous in a way. I have a friend who's extremely talented. I went to school with him. The point is, he never did anything with his talent. You know what's important for an artist? It's the will to do it, to see it through. You could work maybe a couple of days on a painting, a couple of months on a painting. It's an ongoing process. It's not the joy of living, believe me. Although you love doing it, you've got to be a masochist to be a painter, to love it and stay with it.
When were you painting in this style?
Maybe about 5 years ago. Well, I'll show you one a lot earlier. But I think that's for anything, to see something through and not give up. It's easy to give up, but with painting you can't. When I decided to go to Pratt, that was a big move. Where was it? The first day, before I even started, you had to go to meet the faculty and things like that. There was a long corridor on the train station. And I'm walking down the corridor and I'm thinking, why am I doing this? I'm going someplace I don't know anybody. It's scary. I almost turned around and went back home. I got to the end and about to go up the stairs and I thought, well, I'll give it a chance. Just a chance, I'll just go for the day. Well, I went, and I just loved it. And I thought, hey, this is going to be all right. This is probably in the early 90s or late 80s. I'm glad I didn't turn around. All my girlfriends married the first guys they went out with. And it would have been my life if I turned around and went home. What a different thing. I went into another world. I went there, I went to school. I met my husband, we traveled to different countries. I can't tell you how lucky I've been. And it was all accident. A girl from the Bronx who knew nothing about art to fall into this. I was lucky.
Thank you so much for watching the video. The best way to support me and the continued creation of these videos is to pre-order my photography book, Artist in Residence, at the link in the description. The book is my continued documentation of the last generation of artists living in these unique studios and lofts across New York City. Thank you so much for watching these videos. It really means a lot to me and to all of the artists that are featured in them.